Did I miss anything?
Hi, no. The judge just came in. So, tell me, have you seen John in action yet?
Yeah, I saw him yesterday. He was terrific.
This court will come to order. Mr. Callison, you may call your first witness for the day.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth calls Michael Grant.
Michael Grant?
Tighten your seatbelt, Gabrielle. This could get rough.
Prepared for the worst.
Oh, I wish I were.
I do. Please be seated.
Mr. Grant, will you tell this court when you and Gabrielle Medina first became lovers?
Objection. The defendant's sex life is not on trial here.
Well, Your Honor, in previous testimony, there have been claims that the defendant switched the babies in the neonatal ICU in order to save Mr. Grant's life because she loved him. Therefore, the defendant's relationship to Mr. Grant is extremely relevant.
Overruled, Mr. Russell. Answer the question, Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant, when did you and Gabrielle Medina become lovers?
Otherwise, I'm going to kick you and your photographer out of here.
We don't need the exact date, Mr. Grant.
Miss Medina and I had a brief affair that began approximately 1 year ago. It happened suddenly and ended just as quickly.
Did your affair with Miss Medina end when your wife, Alicia, arrived in Landview?
Yes.
Did you end the affair or did Miss Medina?
I did.
How did Miss Medina react?
She wasn't happy.
She caused you trouble, threatened to cause you trouble if you didn't continue seeing her?
Objection.
Overruled.
Mr. Grant?
Not really. She accepted the inevitable.
She accepted. Mr. Grant, after your wife died, did you resume your affair with Miss Medina?
Objection, Your Honor. My client readily admits that she had an affair with Mr. Grant. Now, what is the sense in going through every sordid detail of their relationship?
Your Honor, may I respond?
Yes, but briefly, please, Mr. Callison.
Yes, of course. The Commonwealth intends to prove that Miss Medina is the kind of woman who can turn her feelings on or off when it suits her. That every action she has taken, including the baby switch, has been calculated.
Your Honor, he's giving a summation to the jury.
Well, I think he's just answering your point, Mr. Russell.
He hasn't proved a thing.
Well, let's give him a chance, shall we? Objection overruled. Don't disappoint me, Mr. Callison.
I'll try not to, Your Honor. In fact, my next question will prove my contention, even to a skeptical defense, that Miss Medina was in full control of her emotions at every step that she planned.
May we hear the question, please?
By all means. Mr. Callison, we don't have all day.
Yes, of course. All right, Mr. Grant, if you'd been told immediately that your son had died, would you have married Gabrielle Medina?
I am absolutely sure I would not have married Miss Medina if I had known that my son had died.
But you believe that your son was alive because Gabrielle Medina had switched your baby with Brenda McGillis's baby, is that true?
Yes.
All right. Why did you ask Miss Medina to marry you?
My son needed that is, the baby that I believed to be my son needed a loving mother.
Miss Medina was, in your opinion, a loving mother.
She certainly gave me that impression. Also the impression that she loved me. She made herself indispensable to us. But she didn't love either one of us. She only wanted my money. God knows I have been aware of her greed for a long time, but it never occurred to me that she would do something so inhuman, so cruel.
Mr. Grant, did you ever have the impression that Miss Medina was mentally unbalanced, on the edge, so to speak?
Never. She was always rational, always focused on her goal, marrying into my fortune.
Now, Miss Medina was the manager of the Landview Grand Hotel before your child was born, was she not?
Yes.
Did Miss Medina give up her job to take care of the baby?
No, she continued to manage the hotel. And to her credit, she did a fine job. She also continued to take care of the baby. And she did a fine job there, too, because it is a fact that she was at all times in total control. She was never insane. She was evil.
Objection, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Grand is not a psychiatrist. He's not qualified to judge my client's state of mind.
I'm going to overrule your objection, Mr.
Well,
Russell.
of course you are.
But I will advise Mr. Grand to control his temper.
My apologies, Your Honor. I find it very hard to keep my emotions in check when I am reminded of this woman's deception. She used me by kidnapping Brenda's son when not considering what damage it would do to the mother. And even when Brenda confronted her, she
Wait,
continued to lie about it. She has done lies.
Your Honor.
Mr. Grant. Thank you.
I will sustain your objection, Mr. Russell. I will also direct the jury to disregard Mr. Grand's last outburst. Please strike Mr. Grand's remarks from the record.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Callison, if you can control your witness, you may continue.
No further questions.
Your witness, Mr. Russell.